Hola Player, estamos aquí en un nuevo video para mi canal Player. Y bueno gente, hace tiempo que no les traigo un juego random. Y bueno, me pareció muy divertido y leer la descripción de Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Se supone que este juego se trata de un juego que juega con vos sin saber que terminaste el juego. Ya ven que en la pantalla mía aparece de Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Y en la pantalla del monitor de allá al fondo aparece Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Y en la pantalla del fondo lo mismo. Hasta creo que si le hacen zoom tranquilamente van a ver que sigue en infinito. Así que nada, este juego se trata de que juega con vos y no sabe cuándo van a terminar. Y sigue jugando con vos. Es un juego que juega con vos básicamente. Así como tu mujer cuando juega con tus sentimientos. Es que exactamente lo mismo, gente. Así que nada, bueno, le mandamos play. Y ojalá esté bueno, porque la verdad, para que mande un juego así random. Ok, ok. Soy un oficinista. Y no puedo hacer nada. Ok, listo. Solo camino, ¿no? Ok, sí, solo camino. Con L2 me caigo.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ajá.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Ok. No sé por qué pienso que... no puedo hacer nada. L1 me agacho y L2 igual. Apreté X. Y se escucha como si fuera que estoy tocando teclado. Pensé que podía saltar, pero literalmente
When
no.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Crucé al lado de la izquierda. No, yo me voy a la derecha.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Y bueno, ¿qué tiene que yo me vaya a otro lado, eh? A ver si me voy para la sala del jefe.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Sí, no, yo me voy al frente, donde hay luz.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
¿No es un juego de terror así? No.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
¡Me morí! Ok.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply
Sí,
missed a
sí,
memo.
sí. No había ninguna nota.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
Sí, ya sé
and
que no es
Stanley knew it perfectly well.
la puerta
Perhaps he wanted to
correcta.
stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley
Sí.
took the first open door on his left.
Sí, bueno,
And
tenés
so he
razón.
detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Ok. ¿Para qué quiero ver esto? Porque puedo bajar, ¿no?
But
Okay.
Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander
quería
about
ver
and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
No, right. Vamos, 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 vamos. Izquierda, izquierda, izquierda.
Oh no, No, it's to the right. My mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
What the fuck, están...
Let's see, we went down, right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Okay.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler.
Whoa.
Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just
What
have to
the
get back to who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
¿Me reiniciaron el juego?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it
Sí,
mean?
ya sé, bro.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting.
Cierra un
Perhaps he
poco
had simply
lo que se
missed
llama
the
la cola. A ver. Verga, pensé que...
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who
Sí,
wrote the
¿por qué me
story.
preguntas? No, yo no
It was
entiendo
right
la
here
verdad.
just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley.
Ay, shit.
Let's find the story.
Ok, busquemos una historia. No deja. Es el mismo lugar, ¿no? Ok, me voy por acá. Ok, está muy callado todo.
I'll say it. This is
La
the
concha
worst
de tu
adventure
hermana.
I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again?
No.
I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and
What
over
the
again.
fuck?
But it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Me reiniciaron.
Stanley,
Stanley, sí. Los compañeros se fueron a la mierda. Dijo, wow, no puede ser. Los compañeros se fueron a la mierda. Ok, a mí qué me importa que se vayan a la mierda. Porque...
Imposible.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just
no se ve...
came from.
Ay, Dios.
Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Sí, mejor vamos atrás. Ok.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Ok, volvamos por atrás entonces. Ay, no. Ay, nadie me dijo que esto iba a ser un juego de terror. Sí. Está todo horrible. ¡Ay, su madre! Ay, Dios.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off.
Ay, gracias a
Good
Dios.
job. Oh,
¿Y ahora?
No, I don't feel right about this at all. We
Ay,
both know you
Dios.
didn't put in any actual work for that win. some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart.
Bien, menos mal, no quería empezar en...
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure line.
¿Sabes
Just
qué?
follow the line.
Yo
How
también
simple
quiero
is
terminar la
that?
historia. Sí, te voy a seguir, te voy a seguir, te voy a hacer caso, bro.
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in
muy
this
buena historia.
direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of
Ay,
music to
Dios,
lighten
este
the
chabón
mood.
está loco. ¿Qué carajo? ¡Ay, mierda! ¡Está peor! Ok, sí. No es necesario que pase por acá. Pensé que había algo
Cut the
escrito
music,
atrás.
go back and look at that fern. Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Tiempo. Ok, volvimos a la oficina actual, pero ¿por qué me hizo dar tantas vueltas si podemos ir por acá nuevamente? Ok, acá tiene que haber un punto de reinicio o algo por el estilo, nos hacen reiniciar el juego todo el tiempo.
No, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
¿Otra vez, chabón?
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in... Well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Ay, Dios. Esto se pone cada vez peor. Es peor que los backrooms.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination.
Wow.
Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
What the f...
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it. We should be fine.
What the fuck, chabón. ¿Hay una manera de correr? No. X, cuadrado sin soltar, X sin soltar. Círculo. Ay, Dios.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Al final de la confusión. 17 minutos. ¡Vamos, 17 minutos! Pero está cerrado. Está completamente cerrado. No, está enfermo. Quiero ir por acá, quiero ir por acá. Bueno, será que tendremos que entrar.
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what,
No.
eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all
Quinto reinicio, el
determined?
narrador se olvida del reinicio.
So
Sexto
now,
reinicio,
according to
vuelve a
the
encontrar
schedule,
la
I
línea.
restart again. Then
Octavo
what?
reinicio, el
Am I
narrador
just
se
supposed to
ha ido.
forget?
Después de
Well,
mucho
what if I
tiempo,
don't want to
Stanley muere.
forget? My mind goes blank
What
simply
the
because it's written here on
fuck?
this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it.
Yo no lo puedo reiniciar.
And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know?
Ok.
Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination, so I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
Ay, me cagué todo.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Narrador, narrador, ¿me escuchas? Soy yo, el viejo Stanley. ¡Ah! Narrador, por favor. No quiero estar solo nuevamente. ¿Acá no hablabas?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ok, te haré caso.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ok, estoy yendo.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
What the fuck?
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why
No hay
had
una
he taken
manera de
that
que se dé
risk?
cuenta que
All
es...
because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. "I'm dreaming!" he yelled.
Ajá.
"This is all a
Puede ser.
dream." Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now,
What the fuck?
hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars
por el
just
amor
a
de
moment
Dios,
ago?
quédate ahí.
How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice?
Cierra el orto, me voy a poner nervioso.
And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body.
Hija de puta, la Mariela.
And ran. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Pero qué carajos.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ya estoy yendo a la izquierda. Oh, no hay nadie.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
si
Feeling
tomo el
a wave
camino
of
bueno?
disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Así que este es el pasadizo del jefe. What the fuck, jefe, ¿por qué? ¿Por qué carajos tendría esto?
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight
¡Ay,
ahead
la
to the
puta
large
que te
door
parió!
that read Mind Control Facility.
Mind Control Facility. Escape. Oh, uno me dice escape, otro dice mind control. Vámonos. No quiero estar más en este
Although
juego.
this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Este es el final
At
8,
this
¿no?
point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Wow, que si me muero. No, sabes que voy a volver. No, deja. No quiero morir. Stanley se arrepintió. Dilo, dilo. Stanley se arrepintió. Dale, ¿qué te cuesta, narrador? Por algo es mi sueño, ¿no es así? ¡Ay, Dios!
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold?
no me
Stanley thought to
jodas.
himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Ya sé que es este lugar. Son todas mis muertes y todas mis formas de vivir. What the fuck?
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
¿Y esto qué verga es?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe it couldn't be true.
¡Ay, Dios!
Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Sí, mira cómo acepto
No.
ciegas.
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions.
Mind control
Happy,
settled off.
or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Sistema de poder. Off, on, off, on. ¡Ay, shit!
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
No, porque te escucho, chabón.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Esto sí es un sueño.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Sí, was happy. Era feliz. Ah, terminó el juego. What the fuck? Bueno, espérenme un segundo, va a ser rapidísimo. Ustedes van a decir, ¿cómo que rapidísimo? Ok, yo lo que voy a hacer ahora va a ser literalmente mostrarle los dos finales que quedan. Así que nos vemos enseguida. Ah, no puedo hacer el... Pero bueno, vamos a hacer...
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
What the fuck, gente. To be rich. Esta es la oficina del jefe. No sabía que lo podía abrir más bien, ¿no? Ok, listo, nada. Ahora sí, gente, espero que les guste. What the fuck? Esto se siente mejor que... ¿Pero qué? Ok.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2845. 2845.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. Okay. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Yo ya sé dónde ir, por lo menos. Tengo que ir primero a la muerte de Stanley, que supuestamente era el 8. Pero...
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Okay.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Vámonos, Stanley. Moramos juntos.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Ay, Dios.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
What the...
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
¿El narrador realmente murió?
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Las dos puertas. El escenario de las dos puertas abiertas fue la primera pieza secreta del diseño de Stanley Parable. Una vez que se cayeron en la estación, el resto del juego sirvió como una extensión. Wow. El crucero para el juego. Para que los jugadores llegaran a dos puertas en un tiempo determinado. Wow. No puedo abrir nada, la oficina. ¿Qué hice sonidos de botones? Wow. Terrible. ¿Ah? Ok.
Now then, this elevator for sure will get him right back on track to where he was supposed to be in the story.
Toma de narración
Stanley
descartadas.
pushed the number 6.
Ok. Sex o six, dijo. Reloj de la oficina. Claro, es el reloj actual, ¿no es así? Ok, veamos. ¿Aquí algo? Los sensores de sala monitores. Habitación de la cuenta regresiva. Espera, todavía no me quiero ir. Qué horrible. ¿Es escalofriante saber que estás dentro de un sueño? Y no saberlo a la vez.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Stanley Parable.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't...
Me cagué todo. Ay, Dios. Todavía lo puedo controlar.
Let time choose for you. Don't let...
Me morí. Me morí.
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Wow, eso
Yet there was
jamás
not a
escuché.
single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take.
Creo que era
Too
así.
much for any man to... Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
¡Narrador! ¡Cállate por una puta vez!
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Perfecto. Ok. Esto es más tardío de lo que yo pensaba.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Ya me fui al escape y ya entiendo cómo va esto. Solo tengo que tocar esto en medio.
The lights rose on
irme
an
para otro
enormous
lado.
room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Voy.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building.
Sí, ya
Stanley's
conozco.
coworkers. The
Hijo de
lives
puta,
of
vos
so
me
many
mirás desde allá,
individuals
chabón.
reduced to images
Yo
on a
sé
screen.
que el
Stanley,
narrador
one of
no
them,
existe.
eternally monitoring
Esto
this
no es
place where freedom
tampoco
meant
es
nothing.
un maldito sueño. El chabón sí existe, solo que...
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His
No,
own
sí lo voy a
life
aceptar.
in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly
Chabón,
blind
qué
to the
chabón molesto.
world?
Cerré el orto, bro.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
No voy a hacerte caso esta vez, bro. No voy a ir por el off. Voy a ir por el on.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy
tengo que buscar números.
Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start.
Este es el 5.
What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine.
3.
I set you free.
Shit, faltan el 2 y el 1.
That was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside,
okay.
or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been
El 3
amusing.
estaba por acá.
Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite
El
rich.
4
I
estaba
almost hate to
por
see
arriba,
it
sí.
go. But I'm sure whatever I come up
Tengo
with
40
on the
segundos,
next
tengo
go
40
around
segundos.
will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not?
Me falta el 5.
These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning
Ahí
it
activé
on?
los 5.
I mean,
O
look
como
at you,
mierda es.
running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley?
Incorrecto.
That this video game can be beaten?
Ah, tengo que tocar el 2.
Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley,
Voy a la combo.
you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless.
Toqué el 2, bro.
To see you made
Ahora toco el 3.
This is not a challenge.
Que me voy a morir.
It's a tragedy.
Por favor.
You wanted to control
Soy
this
un hombre
world,
con familia.
that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom.
427,
No ending here. Just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately?
427 no existe, 7 hijo de puta.
Peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All
Me
about
voy a
the journey.
morir,
And
me
believe
voy
me,
a
I
morir.
will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life
Ah.
until the moment we
Ah.
find until the moment I
Ah.
say,
Hijo de puta, me mataste.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing. Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Ojalá te mueras, narrador, hijo de puta. Pensé que éramos amigos, pero ya veo que no. Prefiero a la narradora, que ella sí me quería salvar apagando la PlayStation, pero...
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Qué lindo.
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Sí, sí, bro, sí.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at
Okay,
long last,
bien.
it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Cerra el orto, me caes mal. Te juro, me cae recontra mal.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if the... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right.
Wow.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Sí. Oh, no. Shit, no puedo saltar. The jump circle. Pero acá me dice X, bro. Wow, qué nuevo contenido. ¿Eso es todo?
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read
Cerra el
the
orto,
whole
por lo menos
dictionary.
para
There's 20
saltar
hours
es
of
bueno.
new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content, and oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes, I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Thanks you
That's
for
it?
enjoying the new
Oh, you've
content.
got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's
No podemos
trophies, and it's
escapar.
hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend
Yo
to
también
phone
estoy
these people on
indignado, bro.
Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
What the fuck? ¿Qué carajos? Bueno, gente, lo vamos a dejar hasta acá porque la verdad quisiera tener una segunda parte si es que le gustó mucho el video de Stanley, el juego que juega contigo. La verdad no pensé que el juego Stanley esté bastante bien hecho porque el hecho hay momentos en los cuales decís, wow, me voy a agarrar un screamer, pero no hay screamer, sino que es... Aunque si hubiera un screamer me lo esperaría, pero no hay. Bueno, gente, en general, nada. Espero que les haya gustado el video y si fue así, regálenme un like que no les cuesta nada y una suscripción por ahí. Así que nada, gente, los espero en el siguiente video con muy ansioso. Bye bye. See you later.